The fossils that represent human evolution are very rare indeed. And in every single case, those fossils are considered to be a national treasure of their country of origin, and they don't travel outside of the political confines of those countries. So if I was studying Neanderthals in Croatia, the only way I could compare those Neanderthals in Croatia to Neanderthals from France is by having an accurate casting. So that's why, the castings are very key or essential to researchers. The Penn Museum's casting collection is world-renowned. We have more casts representing all phases of human evolution than any other institution in the world, by magnitude greater, several thousand times greater probably. They are accurate not only in terms again of the gross measurements, but down to about 4,000x, so micro details are also visible on them. This is the first stage of the molding process. This is of a 7,000-year-old mandible from a site in Iran. In order to mold things complicated like a mandible, we have to do it two sides, so we separate it in half, and that's the first part of the process. The mold has been made, so now we have the two separate sections of the mold, and you're looking at it here. The molds are made out of room temperature vulcanized silicon, which works really well in terms of its plasticity, its pliability. And once we have it at this stage, we're actually ready to go on to do the second stage of the process, which is the production of a pattern. A pattern is a casting of a segment of a mold. It's not making a cast, so it has like sort of physically coming out looking like the piece that was actually duplicated. It actually is that piece, in its flange, in its separator that you saw produce with the plasticine. The reason why we do that is because we can use the pattern always as a template, to make new molds. So whereas the molding material wears out, you can maybe make 2 or 3 casts on the inside of it. This way, with this intermediate stage called the pattern, we can make the same casting over and over and over again. This is the final piece. This is actually where the final casting is going to be pulled out of the mold. This is actually a piece of the pelvis. It's one of these side bone elements, which is called an innominate. So the cast is complete in there, and now you're going to see it being peeled out of that silicone glove that it actually was produced in. So Lisa very carefully is going to peel that silicone away from the epoxy casting, which is on the inside, and you're going to be able to see a piece as it first emerges from a mold. This happens to be a modern human pelvis, actually a segment of a pelvis. You can see the epoxy that ran over to the edges of the seal. If it's really, really well done cast, that's tissue thin and you can crack it off as Lisa's cracking it off. She'll eventually take a small Dremel and she'll get rid of any remnants of that little flange around the outside. This is the human evolution, the first 200 million years exhibit opening at the Penn Museum. This is an exhibit which actually heavily relies upon the cast from the casting program here at the Penn Museum.